Hi everybody, it's Jessie Fernandez here for another e-learning lesson, Art at Home, and today we are going to do a little challenge, practice drawing hands. One of the most difficult things every artist I think can agree on is to draw hands realistically without looking awkward or bulky or misshapen or out of proportion to the rest of the body. Here's a fun fact. Even Raphael, one of the greatest artists of the Renaissance, tried to hide hands whenever he could in his artwork because he tried to avoid having to draw and paint them. So yes, they're hard. That is okay. So we're going to be practicing today. Alright, so you have a nice clean piece of paper. You can use the back of something. This is just for practice, so nothing that you need to save. But try your best. So your other hand will be your model, and pick an appropriate pose for your hand. Put it down kind of in front of you. I would normally put it off to the side a little bit so I'm not right on top of each other, but for the sake of you being able to see my model, I'm going to put it right here. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus. There we go. And start with simple shapes. So your hand, instead of peace sign, let's just do an open hand. Try not, I know you're tempted to want to trace your hand. We don't need to do that. So for this assignment, I really want you to focus on drawing, not tracing. All right. So simple shapes. The palm of our hand is a rounded square, honestly. So put your hand here to look at. My hand's kind of, you can draw as big or small as you want because these are just rough sketches. Square, and then we're going to add the chubbiness or the muscles into your hand and draw. See how my thumb attaches to like the bottom side of the square, and then this finger kind of comes off to the side, and I'm literally just kind of doing rectangles that are rounded at the top for my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I've always wondered why animators tend to give cartoon characters only 4 fingers or 3 fingers and a thumb. I don't know. So see, does not look exactly like it, but we've got the outline. So now we're gonna round out my corners. Use your eraser or draw right over it. I'm gonna try not to erase so you can see how this actually becomes a hand. Give a little bit more definition or weight to your fingers. And this is all about just observing, looking at your own hand. Or have somebody be a hand model for you. Now, start looking at the creases. Oh, I just lied. I said I wasn't going to erase anything. Start looking at the creases in your hand. So, where your fingers leave the palm of your hand, there's creases. And then where your knuckles are, there's creases. So one crease here, draw really lightly. You can always come back and make it darker, but it's easier to erase if it's light. So in your knuckles, there's less and less spaced out the closer to the end of your finger they are. And I'm just drawing slightly curved lines, and that helps show the roundness or definition. And now I'm looking at your thumb. This thumb. Thumbs are always hard for me. That opposable thumb, though, is what sets us apart from the rest of the animals, so it is special. So see, it's already starting to look more and more like a hand. I'm not going to erase. I have to keep telling myself don't erase. And I'm going to draw these, the fortune teller lines. That's what I call them. And I got a little crease right here. If anybody wants to know my beauty secret, my hands look so youthful because of this stuff right here. While you're looking at me. Yes. Peeling this stuff off my hands for 30 plus years since I was a kid. It's kept my hands exfoliated and smooth. Beauty secret of the day. Alright, so there's a very rough sketch of my hand. Then what I would like you to do is like erase stuff. So for today's assignment, I want you to practice drawing your hand in at least 3 different poses. Maybe do one with the palm of your hand, at least one with either side of your hand. But 3 different poses. Try drawing your hand in 3 different ways. And then on Google Classroom, comment, what do you think is the hardest part of drawing a hand? So now I'm going to add in shadow. So when you're shading with a pencil, and I'll do a pen next so you guys can see. It's about adding layers. So you start dark, we'll start light, like that. Let's see if I can get focus again. There we go. And then do lighter and lighter, and lighter and lighter. And you just add layers to make it darker and darker as you want to go. Along the edges of your drawing are where the shadows from the back side of the hand would be, so that's why it gets darker along the edges. And that's also why it creates that illusion of being a 3-dimensional object rather than a flat sketch. So I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to use a pen this time. I'm going to try a time lapse, so let's see if we can do that. Hopefully you watched me sketch this. Now what we're going to do is something called hatching to help add definition and clean up. So pens or ink or markers, you just have to not be afraid of making stray lines and work them into your art, into your drawing, into your sketch. And the more you work with them, the better. I'm a little rusty with ink, so this is called hatching. Hatching, just like a baby bird hatching from an egg. Hatching is where you put a series of lines, any kind of thickness together to create the idea of value. And then there's cross hatching, and it's hyphenated. This is hatching. Cross hatching is where you put a series of lines all together again, but then you draw lines across it to create kind of like a hashtag. And that helps create more value or shading. So that's how you do that with markers and ink. If you look closely at a lot of like comic strips, they use lines in order to give that shading look. So I'm hatching along the wrist. The further apart you spread the lines, that would imply a lighter shade or lighter tone in color. There's my peace sign. So thank you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you have fun drawing. Good luck and try your best. I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay safe.